Hello everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here continuing DC Week and possibly ending it with my Legends of Tomorrow review. Yes, I'm finally here to give you my official review for DC's Legends of Tomorrow Episode 1 titled Pilot Part 1. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. Now, of course, we're finally here with the premiere of DC's and CW's newest original program, Legends of Tomorrow. And I personally, going into this show, I had mixed reactions, mixed expectations. I really didn't know what to expect from this show. Now, gradually, based off the trailers I got, or as we got through the, last year to this year, we could have gone either way with it. So, in my head, I thought, this could be the greatest show of all time that CW ever produces regarding DC characters, or this could be the dumbest / cheesiest pieces of shit that we ever witnessed on the CW. Ironically enough, it's pretty much the greatest thing I ever saw that CW's ever produced. I mean, The Flash was, the pinnacle of CW's ability, and then they just blew that shit out of the water with Legends of freaking Tomorrow. Now, of course, with that being said, it is kind of a bloated, ideal, if you will, bloated statement that has a lot of meaning, but let's get into the overall plot summary of this episode. Essentially, this show starts off with a flash forward set many years into the future. Of course, it's set in the year 2166, I think in Britain or London, if you will, and the immortal villain Vandal Savage that we got to see in the Flash and Arrow crossovers last year essentially has sent out a siege against the world and has essentially destroyed all of humanity. And I guess the Time Masters, if you call it, have sent Rip Hunter on a secret mission to essentially travel through time with a assembled team of superheroes to stop Vandal Savage before he takes over the world and destroys all of humanity. And that's basically the short summary of the plot. And as I stated before, even based off that statement, you could go either way with it. It could have been either stupid or it could have been awesome. And the first reaction I got after watching the first several minutes of the show, when you see this futuristic time period where Rip Hunter has pretty much lost all hope, he's lost his family, his people, everyone has died, I get the idea of okay, who the hell made this freaking TV show? It's not even a TV show, it's built like a movie. It's did Joss Whedon freaking leave his allegiance of Marvel back to freaking DC and was I'm making a DC program without anybody knowing? It feels that way. I mean, it's Joss Whedon's Firefly series, but for DC. That's how it kind of feels, at least in my personal opinion. And overall, I think the silver lining in this program has to be the performances. There's a lot of amazing performances in this program. Of course, we have recurring characters that we have both seen in, both programs, Flash and Arrow. We got Brandon Routh as Atom. We get to see, Katie Lotz as, the White Canary. We get to see Martin Stein, Firestorm, and just Hawkgirl, Hawkman, and, Captain Cold, and, so on and so forth. We've seen these characters before, but I feel like now that they have this platform, this specific program to finally have, headlining this show, if you will, they have this time to shine, and they do shine. I mean, every single character on this program kills it. Even characters that I didn't even like in both Flash and Arrow. I mean, for me personally, the big characters that I was really not expecting to like or care for was the actors who portray the characters Hawkgirl and Hawkman. I didn't really like them from the crossover episodes. I thought they were very dull and boring and very just they weren't the Hawkgirl and Hawkman that I grew up as a kid watching, the animated series or reading comic books. They weren't that version to me, at least personally. But after watching this episode, they killed it. They were very funny, they were entertaining, they were very strong and powerful, and that goes along with all the other various characters. I mean, freaking Brandon Routh is so awesome as the Atom. I mean, it's kind of ironic. It's he didn't kill it as Superman, but he's killing it as the Atom. It's just kind of weird how everything works realistically, but he kills it. He's definitely the headliner, the front runner in performances when it comes to this program, and I love it to death. I think he's awesome, and I think the other real cool thing is that you have characters that you don't expect to really like, and they're freaking awesome, like Captain Cold and Heatwave. I think those are another group of characters that are part of this Legends of Tomorrow roster that really don't fit in, but are awesome when you see them on screen. I mean, Captain Cold, let him start. I mean, come on, he's like one of the most funnest, sarcastic characters of The Flash, but he doesn't fit in a heroic setting. But putting them both slash villains into a heroic setting makes it even more awesome. I mean, like Heatwave, he's basically like DC's version of Batista's Drax the Destroyer. I mean, like, spoilers if you've never seen Guardians of the Galaxy, which is something you should definitely do, but if you've never seen it, he's basically that. I mean, he's so out of place, but he's so literal, and he's funny, and just angry and mean. He's so freaking awesome, and I love it, and that goes along with everybody else. I mean, Katie Lotz, to see her finally kicking some butt as the White Canary is really badass. I mean, granted, it would have been nice to see her be, you know, the OG Black Canary, as we all know and love from, you know, Arrow Season 2 and what have you, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? And I guess another silver lining is Rip Hunter, the actor who portrays Rip Hunter. Now, Rip Hunter is a very important character in the DC universe. He's a time traveler, all that kind of stuff. He's very Booster Gold-esque, if you will. There's a lot of things that go along with that, but I really wasn't expecting much from his character. The actor, I felt like he was hamming it up. If you look at the trailers, he said there's a lot of one-liners in his I guess his dialogue, if you will, that he goes in the trailers, and I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, like, all those lines of, like, you should get couples counseling. It's like, in my time, yo, legends, you know, with that freaking damn accent, and I was like, that's stupid. He's a dumb character. Who cares about him, Rip Hunter? I'd rather see Booster Gold, you fucking douches. But after watching the premiere of this episode, he's so freaking good and entertaining and funny, and it's so cool to see him just go through time, take out these motherfuckers, and be like, look, I know this is very weird, this may not make any sense, and you probably hate me for doing this, but we gotta do this now because Vandal Savage is fucking up time, and I need this fucking done, so let's go. He basically Men in Blacks everybody on the program to do what he wants, and I love that. He's so freaking awesome for a character that I give two shits for, and a character that I had zero expectations for because of how stupid his lines were in the trailers. He is awesome. But moving off of that, the main threat, Vandal Savage. Of course, Casper Crump comes back, and he's just awesome. We don't really get to see a lot of him, but I think the cool thing that the program, the creators and writers over this program really shine is incorporating him through time, because obviously in the comic books, Vandal Savage he's not a time traveler per se, but he is immortal. He does live through time. He basically is super intelligent, and he's, you know, capable of doing a lot of cool things and stuff. And I think it could have been very mocky and very parody-esque, if you will, the way they incorporate his character throughout time. Like, oh, he was in the Hitler days, and like, oh, he's, you know, doing these crazy things in Cuba or whatever the fuck, all throughout time. And it could be very hokey in the way they can play it out, but I feel like the way they did imply it and play it out essentially throughout time, the way characters were explaining Vandal Savage's, I guess, reigns against time and, you know, and history and what have you, I think worked very awesome. For a character that could have been very parody-esque and very cartoony, it was awesome. And we didn't really get to even see Vandal Savage that much in this first episode, but his presence was very felt all throughout, and it was very cool to see him when we did get to see him. I freaking love the actor who portrays him. Casper Crump, I think, is awesome in the role of Vandal Savage, and I can't wait to see more of him. It still doesn't make that much sense how he, I guess, if you will, take over the world, essentially, after the whole debacle in the crossover episodes when he basically became sand or whatever the fuck, and, you know, asshole Malcolm Merlin took him away, which I don't know. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out the logistics of that with future episodes of this program, but as it stands now, I love Vandal Savage, but it doesn't make sense that he still exists. But regardless of any of that, this program was awesome. I think another real hesitation going into the show that really stands out to me was, why is it so important for Rip Hunter, the character, to go back in time and get characters that really are insignificant to the overall landscape and scope of the DC universe for these adventures. Now, of course, as us fans know, or at least us hardcore fans know, we know the general logistics of that. It's basically because Warner Brothers is like, yeah, you can't really use any Justice League members, so go fuck yourself. I know you got the Flash, but that's pretty much it for, hardcore Justice League members, so everybody else is off the table. So that's the general idea as to why none of the writers and creators of the CW can really use, A-list superheroes for this kind of adventure and team-up show, which is kind of sad because this is basically the first ever real DC team-up show for CW, excluding the Smallville episodes where they had the Justice Society and all that kind of crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel like it worked, and I like how they incorporated that into the plot, because there does, at a certain, I don't want to spoil it too much, but there does come a time in the show where the topic does get addressed as to why we are the ones chosen, why is it so important, and why does it matter what we do in these specific time periods that we're going into. And Rip Hunter basically, spoilers, basically announces that you specific people have nothing to do with time as it stands, or history. So just by bringing you along on this adventure through time and history, it will have zero effect, because you will, become nothing in the future. That's basically what he's getting at. And I love that they address that, because these are characters that really don't have a lot to do with the DC universe. They're not Batman, they're not Superman, they're not Wonder Woman, they're not, Green Lantern or Aquaman or Martian Manhunter. They're not those characters. They're the D level, the C level, superheroes of the DC universe. And I love that they address that, and I love that specific actors put a lot of depth into their performances to really address that factor. Like Brandon Routh, I think he was awesome in the way that even before that was announced in the episode, even before he even goes on the adventure alone, he's addressing this idea to Oliver. Like, he goes and talks to Oliver. He's like, this is what's going down, and I really want to do this. And Oliver's like, you know what, I'm Oliver Queen. I don't trust anybody. That bullshit that Stephen Amell does. And essentially, I liked Brandon Routh's performance, and I like his overall, the way he just pronounces how he feels about his character in history. Like, he explains in the sense of, like, he died. Technically, he died. But no one cared. It didn't have all the technology he created, all the buildings he built, all the people he saved. It had zero effect on time and history. No one cared after he died. I mean, maybe Felicity cared, not really. No one gave a shit. He just died, he was just gone, and that was it. And then he came back, and, like, no one really cared. It was a done deal. It was whatever. And I like that they did that. And every other character has that. Freaking Sarah has that. The freaking, Firestorm has that. Both of them. Everyone has these problems, these specific problems outside of the Vandal Savage threat. And it's all about them being basically nobodies, being insignificant superheroes in this grand scope of DC Universe superheroes, and trying to make legends and create their own fates in their, stake in history. And I love that. And I love that they addressed it. And I loved how they incorporated that into the plot of this story. And I personally can't wait to see more of this program. So at the end of the day, let's get into my final verdict, if you will. I give this episode a solid 9 out of 10. It was a great, solid episode. Yes, there were some things that I didn't like there were some explanations that were whatever to me. Of course, Hawkgirl, Hawkman, I'm still on the fence about them. I'm not fully sold on them as those characters. And of course, there are some cheesy things like Kronos. Like, yes, Easter egg has been dropped. Yeah, Kronos is in this freaking program as a main villain, aside from Vandal Savage, and I wasn't really big on him too. I mean, yeah, he looked cool and what have you, like, especially if you're doing, like, a short film or something, but, yeah, he was alright, but did anybody feel like he felt a little too much like a Power Ranger villain? I don't know, that's just he felt like he should have been, a freaking Power Ranger TV show instead of a, DC superhero TV show, but that's just me. But other than that, there's not really a lot of things that really are negative with this program. I mean, of course, I'm pretty sure if I go back and watch it, there are going to be some things that get pointed out to me that are like, I didn't really like that, I don't really like that, but as it stands, as of now, this program's awesome. I can't wait to see the rest of the season. I want to see how this incorporates into the larger rather scheme of the DC universe on CW. And I love these characters, and I love that they're really taking charge in history as legends, if you will. But that being said, 9 out of 10 for me. Let me know what you personally thought in the comments section below over this episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was a strong premiere? Do you think it was a weak premiere? Did you think it felt flat? Let me know your personal thoughts in the comments section below regarding DC's Legends of Tomorrow. And also let me know whether or not I should review the full season. I haven't fully made up my mind if I'm going to review every episode of Legends of Tomorrow, because, you know, that's already a large plate as it is. I mean, I'm already reviewing Flash and Arrow, but I guess depending on how this specific review is received, then I'll probably end up doing, you know, some overall reviews. And also, it also depends on freaking how WB TV reacts to my reviews. So, of course, if they're okay with the way I do my reviews, then I'll do some more. And, of course, if they don't, then I'm probably going to have to do none at all, or probably have to be in visual form, you know, like my new Flash review. So we'll have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, this has been an interesting, fun DC week. We had a lot of great content. We got, you know, a lot of DC Justice League Universe stuff. We had a lot of really cool DC TV stuff. Flash, Arrow have come back, and of course we got this new awesome program, Legends of Tomorrow. I personally love the show, but let me know what you personally thought about it in the comment section below. Are you going to watch the full season, or is this episode like meh to you? Let me know, and just comment below, and just tell me your overall thoughts. And also, on the front of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, was there other little tiny Easter eggs that you picked up on the show that I did not mention that you'd like to share with me? Please comment below. Let me know specific Easter eggs from comic book lore and history that I did not specifically get into. But with that being said, final verdict, 9 out of 10. And I personally can't wait to see more episodes of this freaking show. But that being said, shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonch12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Jonch12.